Hello and good evening, everyone. We are coming to you from the Capital Center here on the campus of Capital University as we get set for another presentation of Comets men's basketball. Athletics.capital.edu alongside Jonathan Brown. I'm Charlie Dennis. So glad that we could have you along for the ride on this Thursday evening as the Comets get set to entertain the Hornets of Kalamazoo College. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the last game that Capital played. They fell to John Carroll by a final of 77-59. This was a game that took place in OAC play. And the Blue Streaks definitely showed why they're a top 20 team nationally. Herrick Hanna was able to lead John Carroll in scoring with 18 points. Luke Frazier was right behind him with 16 points. The Blue Streaks shot 42% from three and also outscored Capital in the paint by a margin of 44-24. Meanwhile, Capital's leading scorer was Carter Combs. He had 15 points for the Comets. Unfortunately for Capital, they turned the ball over 18 times, and John Carroll was able to capitalize on those turnovers, 21 points off of those Capital turnovers. Meantime, the team that Capital is taking on in Kalamazoo, well, they've been hurting as of late. Ever since opening the season with a win, they have lost their last six. Their last game was pretty ugly. Denison beating the brakes off of Kalamazoo 91-52. Scotty Dean and Tyler Miller leading the way for the Big Red in that one, 15 points. Miller also grabbing 6 rebounds. The Big Red made 13 threes in that game. Kalamazoo was led offensively by Josh Decker. TJ Courtney also had 10 points. Decker had 11 points. So maybe this is just what the doctor ordered for Capital tonight, Jonathan, in that you're taking on a Kalamazoo team that's having a tough time defending really against anybody. And, boy, it would be nice if Capital could get this offense into gear before the new year comes along.
That is something especially, you get an opportunity to not play a conference opponent right now, so the stress is a little laid back, but the pressure is still on because we're sitting under 500 right now. So now this is a pick-me-up game to kind of get back on track, and hopefully they can continue the streak moving forward and prepare for this conference game versus ONU coming up.
It's definitely been a rough time of it in OAC play for Capital thus far. They dropped their OAC opener at Otterbein back on December 3rd by a final of 80-70. Rebounded with a nice win against Muskingum, 89-62 on the 8th, but as we mentioned, dropped that game to number 9, John Carroll, by a final of 77-59. What's the big concern for you as you get set for this basketball game tonight?
The biggest concern is just needing offensive help. We know the leading scorer on this team is Carter Combs, and he's done well leading this team. He averages about 14.6, but we need the other players to step up. And I'm looking not only as Joe Thompson has moved into the starting lineup, seeing recently in the game, last game they had Nixon, who's still dealing with that injury, and hopefully I don't know if he's back in the lineup, or as well as Seaver. But knowing that you had 2 big men out, you need other role players to step up, and I'm hoping to look out for Crawford, Thompson, and I want to say Megerly as well to kind of step up their roles and seeing a more offensively efficient team.
I'm glad you brought up Joe Thompson. Thompson, the senior out of Galloway, Ohio, had been coming off the bench for the majority of the season so far, but he moves into the starting lineup, and I think that's a good thing for Capital going forward.
Yeah, I agree, too, with that. Having him come off the bench, knowing that he brought that firepower, but knowing he can keep that consistency coming off the game, starting in the starting 5. So hopefully they can come off a good offensive efficiency. They're doing well defensively. They have set the tone when it comes to doing their job defensively, not only on the rebounding side, but also when it comes to block parties. Nixon, the big man, he leads the team with about 1 block per game, but he also does the dirty work down low. Leading the team, and second behind Dosick with about 5.5 rebounds. So, defensively they do a good job playing back and forth, but if they're able to get off on the right foot and on the offensive side, Capital can take control of this game from the jump.
Meanwhile, for Kalamazoo, we already told you that the Hornets have been hurting, losing those last six games, but they're also hurting from a very physical standpoint tonight. We got word before tonight's game, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 different players are scratches due to injury, including Lucas Brosword, who came in here averaging a little over 11 points per game. Good shooter, shooting 50%. A guy that provides a good presence down low. So if Capital can stay out of foul trouble, Jonathan,
That's another good point right there.
and force the Hornets into foul trouble of their own, that could spell a recipe for success for Capital.
Hey, also another factor with that, aside from staying out of foul trouble, not playing to your opponent's level. We know that this team is 1-6, but they're not going to come out here just giving up the game. However, we don't want to sink and play to our levels of the level of our opponent.
And remember too that Kalamazoo, that was a team that has beaten Capital in the past as well. In fact, they met for the first time a year ago. This was up in Michigan at Kazoo's gym. Capital had a halftime lead in that game, but it was the Hornets that ultimately took that game by a final of 76-71. Caleb Crawford was the leading scorer in that game for Capital. He had 13 points to go along with 6 rebounds. Before we wrap up this pregame show, Jonathan, besides getting a win here tonight against Kalamazoo, what do you want Capital to accomplish here tonight before we get to the new year of 2023?
I want Capital to show that they are an underdog team. We know that they were ranked well underneath in the OAC conference rankings and ranked at 9th. To end off the year, and I know you got one more game against the conference opponent, and that'll really set the tone. If you're able to assert and show your dominance versus, especially Ohio Northern, I feel like they'll be able to get past Kalamazoo tonight. But looking towards the future against Ohio Northern, if they're able to handle their business in the conference play to get back to 500, Capital, hey, that's one way to start off the year. You just have to show Capital, the name is Comets for a reason. I'm ready to see us crash onto the conference.
They have this game against Kalamazoo, and then their final game of the calendar year of 2022 will be this Saturday when they travel to Ohio Northern. But first things first, Capital with some business to attend here tonight as they get set to take on the Hornets of Kalamazoo College. That has been our pregame coverage. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll have the national anthem, starting lineups, and the opening tip-off, Kalamazoo versus Capital. We're getting set for another presentation of Comets men's basketball here in athletics.capital.edu. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Capital Center, getting you set for another presentation of Comets men's basketball here on athletics.capital.edu alongside Jonathan Brown. I'm Charlie Davis. Let's now get you tonight's starting lineups, beginning with the visiting Hornets of Kalamazoo College. At guard, the junior from Manchester, Michigan, number 3, Ty Horkey. Also at guard, the senior from Otsego, Michigan, number 11, Addison Atwater. Also at guard, the sophomore from Miami of Florida, number 22, DJ Courtney. Also at guard, the sophomore from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, number 33, Josh Decker. And rounding out the starting five tonight for the Hornets will be the 6'3" junior forward from San Diego, California, number 44, Sam Coleman. The head coach of the Hornets in his 4th year at Kalamazoo, Nick Gehart. And now the starting lineup for the Comets. Here's what Capital's starting five will look like this evening. At guard, the 6'2" junior from the Queen City of Cincinnati, Ohio, number 11, Caleb Crawford. Also at guard, the 6'2" sophomore from Westchester, Ohio, number 13, Carter Combs. At forward, the 6'4" senior from Anna, Ohio, number 15, Griffin Dosick. Also at forward, the 6'5" sophomore from Akron, Ohio, number 20, Dom Megerly. And rounding out the starting five tonight for the Comets, the 6'4" senior forward from Galloway, Ohio, number 24, Joe Thompson. The head coach of the Comets in his 28th year at Capital, the legend, Damon Goodwin. We're all set and ready to go here at the Capital Center. As we ready for the opening tip, Tim Stewart, Chuck Dockin, and Brian Sensabaugh are our officials. And the tip is won by Capital. We're underway here in Bexley. Megerly passing it off to Thompson. Thompson at the top of the arc. Off to Crawford. Crawford, right wing. Now over to Combs. Combs driving inside. And the left-handed layup is good. Nice dish to Thompson. And Capital breaks the seal.
Nice play. It is special seeing this team in all purple.
Capital wearing all purple tonight. Kalamazoo sporting their all whites. They played Denison earlier this week, and they were not able to do laundry on those away jerseys, so they opt to wear the home white jerseys that they usually wear up in Michigan. And that's a turnover there for the Hornets. They come into this game losing their last six straight. Denison taking them behind the woodshed the other night, beating them by a final of 91-52. Early 2-0 lead here for Capital. Thompson, top of the arc, passing off to Crawford. Crawford, right wing, surveys the defense over to Megerly. Megerly will pop a three. That's no good. Crawford, offensive board, battle for it. Comes away with it, does Crawford. Fresh shot clock for Capital. Thompson, right wing, pass over to Megerly in the corner. Dom will go baseline. Inside, Dosick back outside. Thompson for three. No good. Rebound taken by Kalamazoo. Decker with the board for the Hornets. 2-0 lead for Capital, 18:40 left to play in the first half. DJ Courtney, left wing, double team, dribbles out of it, pass over to Horkey. Now back to Courtney. Courtney dribbling inside, back outside, three-pointer. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Crawford. Off the miss by Sam Coleman. Megerly, right wing, bouncing it over to Dosick. Now to Crawford. Crawford passing it over to Combs. 16 to shoot for Capital. Combs, right wing, he'll drive inside, and he will score.
Nice job. Carter Combs taking charge.
Leading score for Capital, 14.6 points per game. Early 4-0 lead for Capital. Coleman being hounded defensively by Thompson. And it's stolen away by Dom. Here comes Megerly the other way, and he can't make the bucket, but he was fouled on his way to the 10.
That's a good defensive stand right there, causing a turnover, getting an opportunity for the layup. Unable to make the three-point play there, but he'll get 2 shots at the line.
Foul called on DJ Courtney, his first, team's first. And now Dom heading to the free throw line, shooting 60% from the cherry stripe. First shot no good. And we have our first substitution of the night checking in for the Hornets, the 6'6" freshman from Sturgis, Michigan, J.J. Stevens. He'll take the place of Coleman out there on the floor. One more foul shot for Dom Megerly. The shot is up, and that's no good. Dom comes up empty, but a nice offensive rebound by Dosick. Combs, he'll drive in. Pass to Dosick in the corner for three. No good. Rebound taken by Stevens. Atwater brings it across half court for the Hornets. Passing it over to Courtney. Courtney trying to drive inside, being guarded by Magerle. Picks up his dribble. Now back outside to Atwater. 14 to shoot for the Hornets. Atwater, right wing. Passes off to Courtney. Courtney back to Atwater. Atwater guarded by Crawford. Forces up a three. That's nowhere close. And Thompson able to save it for Capital.
It's good defensive stance right there.
Combs will bring it across the timeline with Capital leading 4-0. 17:01 to play in the first half. Combs back out to Dosick. Dosick thought about giving it to Crawford, but instead passing off to Thompson. Now back to Combs. Combs inside, and the lob pass is nowhere near a Capital Comet as Courtney is able to steal that one away.
Look for Joe Thompson down there, and you see it's difficult not having your big man in there, and typically Nixon will be down there, so you're kind of rotating through players here.
Borky over to Atwater. Atwater, wide open three. That's no good, but offensive board by Stevens. Now in the hands of Horky, and now a foul's going to be called. Looks like against Capital.
Atwater was on an island by himself to get hit. Kalamazoo's first points. They're still looking to get their first points of the game.
Foul will be on Dosick. He'll be whistled for the reach-in. His first personal, team's first. Pass to the corner. Decker out of the corner over to Courtney. Courtney, top of the arc. Back to Decker. Decker with a little pump fake. He'll dribble inside, and nice defense by Dosick that time. Might have gotten a piece of it. Here comes Crawford the other way. Now Combs, step back three.
Blast. That's a filthy step back. Ugh.
Carter Combs knocking down the first triple of the night for Capital. And the lead increases to 7-0 over Kalamazoo. Borky inside, Stevens against Thompson, misses the layup. Thompson with the board for Capital.
That's 7-0, pass the sticks, 2K. Good defensive stance here, holding Kalamazoo to 0, 5 minutes into this half.
Magerle over to Combs. Inside, and count the basket, and a foul. Nice job by Dosick establishing position down there on the low block. He gets hit, he converts the bucket, and now he'll have a chance to go to the foul line.
Uno, dos, tres. He'll have an opportunity here for a three-point play.
And an entire line change here for Kalamazoo. Caleb Call, Carter Bandemer checking in. Sam Coleman back in as well for Kalamazoo. And now in for Capital is Justin Nixon.
You get that big man presence down low.
Meantime, Dosick hitting the free throw, completing the three-point play. 10-0 lead for Capital. 15.5 to play here in the first half. Kalamazoo looking for answers offensively. Courtney passing off to Bandemer. Now to Coleman. Coleman, he'll hand off to Courtney. Courtney, 15-footer, no good. Rebound taken by Magerle. Up ahead to Crawford. Crawford across half court. Inside to the big man, Nixon. Nixon, jump hook, and it's good.
Just a lucky roll, but barbecue chicken feed the big man down low.
12-0 lead for Capital after the made bucket by Nixon. 14:50 to play in the first half. Coleman, guarded by Nixon, bouncing it over to Samples. Samples, back to Coleman. 15 to shoot for the Hornets. Now it's Courtney trying to drive. Now a little kick to Call inside, and he scores. And finally, Kalamazoo gets on the board.
Call getting first call back of the night. Finally able to put some points up for Kalamazoo.
Freshman from Grayling, Michigan. Still a big lead for Capital. 12-2 in favor of the purple and white with 14:20 to go. Nice feed inside as they find Nixon for two more.
Barbecue chicken, big man down low.
Capital 14, Kalamazoo 2, 14:08 to play in the first half. DJ Courtney to Coleman. Coleman back to Courtney. Courtney near the corner, goes baseline, bouncing it over to Bandemer. Now in the hands of Call. 5 to shoot for the Hornets. Over to Courtney. Courtney will hoist a three, and that's way short, but an offensive board by Vandermeer. Now another three by Call. That's off the mark, and this time Nixon grabs the board for Capital.
Plenty of shots being taken here by Kalamazoo. They're just not following in the direction.
Crawford to Nixon to Combs. Combs. A little step back, but no shot. Inside, Nixon can't save it. That's a turnover for Capital. And speaking of Capital, some substitutions made now as Alex Iyink, Ryan Seaver, and Trey Hammond, the freshman from Medina. They all check in for the Comets.
Giving the starters some fresh legs, some rest here.
14-2 in favor of Capital. 13:20 to play here in the first half. Courtney driving inside. Turnover. Combs is able to pick off the pass for Capital. Combs will now take it across half court. Dribbling to his left, near the top of the arc. Now a dribble inside. Now a kick over to Hammond. Now to Nixon. Now in the hands of Iyink. Iyink, top of the arc. Back to Combs on the right wing. 13 to shoot. Inside. Nixon makes the catch and lays it up and in.
That's a great ball vision right there from Combs, seeing Nixon down low. Feed the big man. Big man is coming off the bench, and he's ready to eat. Already 6 points.
Nice game so far for the sophomore from Minster, Ohio, Justin Nixon. 16-2 lead for Capital. 12:38 to play in the first half. And the three is off the mark by Vandermeer. Rebound Capital. Here comes Combs the other way to the left wing. Dribbling to his right. Probing the defense. Over to Nixon now near the foul line. Back outside to Iyink. Iyink will try a drive. Now he'll kick to Hammond for three.
Flash.
And he knocks it down. Trey Hammond, the freshman, knocking down a triple. And now a timeout is going to be taken by Kalamazoo. We'll take a timeout as well. 12:17 to play in the first half. Capital 19, Kalamazoo 2 here on athletics.capital.edu. $12:17 to play in the first half. Capital 19, Kalamazoo 2. A dominant start here for the Comets, as Kalamazoo continues to really struggle offensively, only shooting 10% from the field. 1 of 10 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. Spin move in the lane, back outside, Decker for three, and Decker knocks it down. First made three-pointer of the night for the Hornets.
A triple Decker right there.
Ryan Roth has checked in for Capital. Iyink passing over to Nixon inside. Seaver losing the ball. That's a turnover. Here comes Kalamazoo the other way. Capital leading 19-5, coming up on 11.5 to play in the first half. Horky trying to drive in. Bounce pass. Losing it out of bounds is Stevens, but they'll say that it went off the foot of Nixon. So that means it'll be Kalamazoo basketball.
Now, you see the score difference right here as Capital is up by 14. The key here for a successful game is to not get lazy and comfortable with the lead. Strong teams know how to keep that foot on the pedal until it's time to ease up in the second half.
Addison Atwater, meantime, not able to find Call on the inbounds pass, leads to a turnover for the Hornets. Hammond to Seaver. Seaver near the top of the arc, bouncing it over to Iyink on the left wing. Iyink back to Roth, inside to Seaver, over to Hammond. Hammond for three.
Splash.
Trey Hammond with his second made three-pointer of the night. 22-5. The freshman from Medina, Ohio, has a nice stroke from deep.
Trey Way the game. Hey, he's been coming off the bench and doing exactly what his number has been called up to do, not only on the offensive side, but defensively right now locking up his opponent.
Hannafin turning it over for Kalamazoo. Here comes Capital the other way. Roth, Hammond for three. That's no good, but Hammond's able to chase down his own miss. 18 to shoot for Capital. Roth, he'll try a deep three, and that's no good as Atwater is able to grab the board for the Hornets. Here comes Kalamazoo the other way. Decker for three. That's no good. Rebound taken by Nixon.
Control the pace here.
Roth to Iyek to Nixon. Swung all the way around to Hammond. Hammond near the corner, dribbles out of the corner. Step back three. Knocks it down again. Trey Hammond showing off the handles.
Campbell's so good. He just, where was he going? Where was he going on that court? Where was he going? Was it slip and slide out here today? I didn't know that was a thing.
Addison Atwater missing the shot, but he earns himself a trip to the free throw line.
I wish we had instant replay. Trey Hammond, Trey Way the game. What a slithery shot from behind the arc. The step back. That's 9 points already just off the bench.
Roth with the foul for Capital. His first is team's second. Atwater missing the first free throw as Nixon will head to the bench for Capital. In his stead will be Joe Thompson, the senior from Galloway, Ohio. One more free throw for Addison Atwater, the senior from Otsego, Michigan. Shot is up, no good. He goes 0 for at the foul line. It remains a 25-5 lead for Capital as we have approached the 10-minute mark here in the first half. A turnover as Atwater comes up with a steal for the Hornets, and then up ahead, and that is a made bucket for Ty Horkey, the junior out of Manchester, Michigan.
That was a nice switch of hands right there, layup right there.
Capital 25, Kalamazoo 7, 9:43 to play. Iyek to Seaver. Seaver top of the arc. Over to Roth. Now to Seaver. And the pass not able to get to Thompson. Another turnover for Capital. Horkey now on the right wing.
You see what kind of difference what happens when Nixon comes out. You try to run those same kind of plays with a bigger man down low, and it's hard because Nixon has a lot more weight to him.
Horkey inside to Stevens. Stevens losing the handle, and that'll be another turnover for the Hornets. Kalamazoo not doing a good job of taking care of the basketball so far, as that's now their sixth turnover of the game. 25-7 lead for Capital. 9:12 remaining in the first half. Iyek, right wing. Over to Thompson. Now to Hammond. To Seaver. 16 to shoot for Capital. Iyek, right wing. Dribbling to his left. Almost has his pocket picked. Keeps possession. Over to Hammond. Hammond, a little pump fake down the lane. Jumper, no good. And now an offensive foul will be called against Trey Hammond. That's his first personal, team's third.
He's been in the weight room, that's all it is.
Meantime, Carter Combs, he'll check in for Capital. Hammond gets a nice hand from his teammates and the fans here at the Capital Center after all those threes that he made. 25-7 lead for Capital. 8:45 to play in the first half. Decker out near midcourt, guarded by Thompson. He'll now bounce it over to Call. Back to Decker, now in the hands of Atwater. Atwater double teamed, and his pass is picked up by Combs. Combs over to Iyek, and Iyek lays it up and in. Nice job running the floor by Capital.
I saw the look in his eyes. He wanted to take off. Yeah, I don't think he had enough rocker fuel right there.
The main thing is he put the ball in the hoop. 27-7 lead for Capital with 8:10 remaining in the first half. A drive inside, no good. Great defense by Thompson as the rebound is taken by Capital. Now a little sloppy there as they were trying to get the ball to Thompson, but that's a turnover for Capital. A little pump fake. Decker will drive in and score. And now a timeout will be taken by Capital. We'll take a timeout as well. 7:56 to play in our first half. It's Capital 27, Kalamazoo 9 on athletics.capital.edu. They're playing Christmas tunes here at the Capital Center as we come back from break. 7:56 to play here in the first half. It is Capital 27, Kalamazoo 9. And all you have to do is look at the shooting percentages of this game. Capital shooting 69% from the field, Kalamazoo only 27%. Capital's shot 4 of 8 from downtown, good for 50%. 1 of 8 meantime for Kalamazoo. That's good for only 13%. Thompson to Dom. Magerly on the right wing. Over to Seaver. 8 to shoot for Capital. Now it's Dom. Dom gets a screen. Dom, step back jumper. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Caleb Call.
Pretty strong on that.
Call on the left wing. Over to Coleman. Coleman dribbling to his right. Looking for some help. And finally passes it off to Samples. Samples fights out of a double team. 10 to shoot for the Hornets. Over to Courtney. Courtney to Coleman. Back to Courtney. Courtney trying to drive in. Kick 3. No good. Seaver with the rebound for Capital. Off the miss by Bandemer. 27-9 lead for Capital. 6:50 to play in the first half. Seaver, top of the arc. Over to Iank. Iank, long jumper. That's no good. Nice hustle by Don Magerly. Back to Iank for 3. That's no good. Rebound taken by Kalamazoo. And now a foul is going to be called, looks like, against Seaver. Or did it go against Kalamazoo? Simultaneous fouls. It'll go against Seaver for Capital, and looks like the other foul will go against Bobby Samples. So that's Samples' first, team's second. And as for Seaver, that's his first, team's fourth. 6:37 to play in the first half. Capital 27, Kalamazoo 9. You don't often see simultaneous fouls.
No, not often.
Courtney over to Coleman. Coleman, top of the arc. Over to Samples. Samples, long tray, no good, and the rebound corralled by Dosick for Capital. Inside. They go to Thompson. Thompson, tough jumper, no good. Rebound taken by Kalamazoo's Call. Coleman, back to Call. Call, passing off to Bandemer. Bandemer, right wing. Bandemer being guarded by Combs. Now to Coleman. Coleman over to Samples. Samples dribbling around. 10 to shoot for the Hornets. Samples trapped in the corner. Passes out of it to Call. Inside.
Block party.
Nice block by Dosick. Denying Courtney at the rim. And now Crawford going forward, and it looks like a foul is going to be called against Kalamazoo. They're going to get Caleb Call for what looks like a blocking call. That's his first, team's third.
That's a block party right there by Griffin Dosick down low.
And he's able to do that from time to time on the defensive end. 27-9 lead for Capital. 5:41 to play in the first half. And now Carter Combs, he is going to be shooting some technical free throws because they deemed that an intentional foul on that last play. But he's not able to hit the technical foul shot.
Oh, yeah, I know they did that. They changed that for the NBA. Clear transitional fouls now lead to I'm assuming that now applies for NCAA too?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Crawford over to Magerly to Thompson. Over to Crawford. Crawford. Now a deep 3 by Combs.
Splash!
Knocks it down from deep. Oh, boy, Carter Combs showing off the range on that shot.
Double C, no Chanel, but he's staying in his bag.
5:20 to play here in the first half. Capital 30, Kalamazoo 9. Coleman on the left wing. He's trapped, and he's needing help in the worst way, being guarded by Dosick. Now he'll dribble to his right, still looking for some help. Finally passes it off to Samples. Now inside, Coleman fighting his way through for 2.
That was a miscommunication on the defensive side. Both Capital defenders staying at the top and letting Coleman slither his way through.
Capital 30, Kalamazoo 11, and now an offensive foul is going to be called, looks like, against Griffin Dosick. Moving screen. He'll be hit with his second foul, team's 5th, as Justin Nixon will head out there for Capital. Dosick will take a seat on the bench. 5 team fouls for Capital, 3 for Kalamazoo. But Capital at the moment, comfortably ahead, 30-11 with 4:50 to play in the first half. Courtney, left wing, being guarded by Megerly. He'll dribble to his right. Now a switch with Nixon, but he passes out of it to Stevens. Now swung around to Samples. Samples misses the three, and the rebound is taken by Combs of Capital. Combs will take it across half court. Initiates the half court offense. Megerly, left wing. Dom will drive in. Bounce pass Crawford, swung around to Combs. Back outside to Crawford. Crawford from the right point, knocks it down.
Nice teardropper right there.
32-11 in favor of Capital. 4:09 to play. And what has been a great first half of offensive basketball for the Comets. Courtney, right wing, over to Megerly. Now he'll try to drive. Stopped. Kicked out to Bandemer. Bandemer, now he'll try to drive towards the hoop, but he's met with a double team. Swung around to Samples. Courtney for three. No good. Crawford with the board for Capital. Kalamazoo now shooting 1 of 11 from three. Megerly, meantime, misses the three. Nixon with the offensive board, and he can't make the jump hook. That's a miss and a rebound by Kalamazoo. Samples to the right wing now as we tick under 3.5 to play in the first half. Capital leading 32-11. Nixon diving for the ball. Can't get to it, however, but great hustle. Call. He'll drive inside, and Call gets fouled on his way to the bucket. He'll go against Thompson. That'll be his first, team 6. And now, shaken up on the play, looks like his Call as he's still on his back. Now he's helped to his feet. And getting up very gingerly.
Thompson and Call got tangled up right there. Thompson tried to snatch the ball out.
So now Call will head to the foul line, shooting only 59% from the free throw line so far this year. A freshman from Grayling, Michigan. First shot is up, and that is good for Call.
Just have to go in. Got some substitutions.
McCain Finkenbein checks in for Capital. Meantime, checking in for Kalamazoo, Ty Horkey, along with Josh Decker. One more free throw attempt for Call. Call, a right-handed shooter. His shot is up, and it is good. And another substitution for Kalamazoo is Addison Atwater. Checks back in. So Crawford, he'll inbound it to Finkenbein, the freshman from Anna, Ohio. And right back to Crawford. They'll bring it across the timeline. Capital leading 32-13, 3:10 left to go in our first half. Thompson to Crawford. Crawford, right wing. Crawford back out to Megerly. Megerly, top of the arc. Almost loses it, but Nixon recovers for Capital. Nearly stolen away again. Finkenbein grabs it for Capital. And the jump hook, no good, but Nixon with a nice volleyball tap out. Thompson for three, and he knocks it down. 35-13, Capital with the lead, 2:43 to go. And boy, what a difference Justin Nixon makes on that glass.
I'm telling you, down low, it's a big man. Able to do the dirty work nobody else wants to do.
Speaking of Nixon, stolen by Nixon. Up ahead, can't make the bucket. Finkenbein with an offensive board into Thompson. Back out to Finkenbein, back out to Crawford now. Megerly, right wing. And they'll go inside to Nixon, but it looks like he got held. And the foul will go against Ty Horkey. That's his first, team's 4th. And now a timeout will be taken by Kalamazoo. We'll step aside as well. 2:21 left to play in the first half. Capital comfortably ahead of Kalamazoo, 35-13. This is Comets basketball on athletics.capital.edu. 2:21 to play in the first half. Capital leading Kalamazoo 35-13. The score for Capital in this game has been Carter Combs. He's got 8, or actually I take that back. Trey Hammond, all those threes. He's got 9. Speaking of Hammond, here's another one. And he misses it. But the rebound taken by Nate Gerber as he's able to dig that one out. Nixon trying to drive. He lost it. And now a foul called against Kalamazoo.
Nixon had his eyes on the rim, just lost control of that ball right there.
DJ Courtney with the foul for Kalamazoo. That's the team's 5th of the half. And so McCain Finkenbein will inbound it to Iank in the corner for 3. Can't get that one to go. But Nixon with another offensive board. Over to Dom Magerly. To Gerber. Gerber passing it back to Dom. Dom on the right wing. Magerly to Nixon. 7 to shoot for Capital. Finkenbein with 5. Over to Dom. 2-1. Dom, long jumper. No good. Rebound finally taken by Josh Decker of Kalamazoo. 1:40 to play in the first half. Capital 35. Kalamazoo 13. Horkey near the corner. Now he'll pass back out to Decker, over to Atwater. Atwater, left wing. Atwater passing out of a double team. 3-pointer for Courtney, and he swishes it through.
On an island.
Capital 35, Kalamazoo 16. 1:15 remaining in the first half. Hammond with 9 points in this game so far. They go inside to Nixon. McCain can't get to the pass. It's tipped away. Horkey leading the charge. Wild shot. No good. Tip in. Good for Josh Decker.
This is hustle right here, and it looks like Kalamazoo is trying to finish this half on a strong note.
50 seconds and counting in the first half. Capital 35, Kalamazoo 18.
Mismatch down low.
Gerber to Hammond, and Hammond will drive in and score. 11 points for Trey Hammond, the freshman from Medina, Ohio.
Saw the open lane, said, I'm going to take that route.
About a 5-second differential between shot clock and game clock. Iank with the steal, and he is able to get it away to Gerber. And now McCain Finkenbein will bring it across half court. Capital will now play for the final shot of the half. 13 seconds, 12 seconds. Finkenbein still out towards half court. He'll pass it off to Nixon. Over to Finkenbein. Finkenbein trying to drive. He lost it, but it was tipped out of bounds by Ty Horkey. 4.7 seconds to go in the first half. So Finkenbein will be the trigger man. He'll inbound it from the baseline. Kane inside. Gerber makes the catch, and Gerber can't finish the layup. Atwater with the heave. That's no good, and that is how the first half will end. A great first half offensively for Capital. They will head into the locker room, leading Kalamazoo 37-18. Coming up, we'll get you caught up with scores around the OAC, top 25 men's basketball as well at the Division I level. That's all coming up on the halftime show. Again, Capital leading Kalamazoo 37-18 at the half. This is Comets men's basketball on athletics.capital.edu. At the half, it is Capital leading Kalamazoo by a score of 37-18. We'll get to the stats from that first half in just a moment. Well, let's get you caught up on action that's taken place in the OAC. Earlier this week, Baldwin-Wallace taking down Hobart. This was actually last night, 85-84. That was a game that went into overtime. Baldwin-Wallace getting a big performance by their guard, Anthony Mazzeo, who dropped in 25 points, shot 8 of 20 from the field. More importantly, went 5 of 10 from three-point range as the Yellow Jackets were able to escape with a win in that ball game. Coming up later on tonight, Otterbein will hit the road. They're going to be in Michigan taking on Adrian beginning at 7 o'clock. That's the only other game involving an OAC team besides our game here on this Thursday night. Promises to be a very busy Saturday around the OAC. Mount Union will play host to Wilmington. Capital, they will head to Ohio Northern. Marietta plays host to John Carroll. Muskingum, they will hit the road. They will take on the Student Princes at Heidelberg. And finally, Otterbein heading up to Berea, Ohio to take on the Yellow Jackets of Baldwin-Wallace. All those games are scheduled for a 2 o'clock start. And boy, Jonathan, so far this season, the OAC has looked very, very strong, particularly at the top. Marietta, John Carroll, Mount Union, these are all teams that are either in the top 20 or flirting with the top 20. And oh, by the way, Heidelberg, they're off to a 7-1 start, and they're still undefeated in OAC play. A strong start for the Ohio Athletic Conference.
And that's why it is very important for Capital to come away with a victory tonight and their last home game on the road against Ohio Northern. You know, come 2023, the schedule gets tougher, more difficult, and those games start to matter if you want to make it, at least have a high seed in the tournament, and that's the main goal. You want to have some kind of advantage going into the tournament, so hopefully Capital can figure out how to figure out their matchups, and everybody will get the opportunity to rest up and be healthy over the holiday break.
Taking a look at the standings around the OAC heading into play tonight, it's Heidelberg and Marietta tied atop the standings with equal 3-0 marks. John Carroll, Mount Union, and how about Otterbein? They've had a couple of lean years here and there, but Otterbein off to a nice 5-2 start overall. They're also 2-1 with an OAC play. Baldwin-Wallace and Ohio Northern and Capital, they are all 1-2. Wilmington is still looking for their first win in conference play. They're 0-3. And poor old Muskingum, 0-8 overall, 0-3 within OAC play. It's been a rough start to the season for the Muskies so far. So you would think, meanwhile, that on a Thursday night we would have plenty of action around Division I when it comes to top 25. That's not the case tonight. The only game involving a top 25 team at the Division I level this evening involves the 22nd ranked Wisconsin Badgers as they get set to host Lehigh. That game is coming up at 7 o'clock. But fear not, basketball fans, Saturday is chock full of great matchups. 8th ranked Kansas playing host of 14th ranked Indiana. 4th ranked Alabama taking on 15th ranked Gonzaga. A top 5 matchup involving number 5 Houston and number 2 Virginia. You add in games like North Carolina taking on Ohio State. 16th ranked UCLA playing 13th ranked Kentucky. 6th ranked Tennessee playing 9th ranked Arizona. Which matchup are you most intrigued by from that Saturday?
I think you had me at that first matchup with Kansas. Kansas going against that ranked opponent of Indiana. Seeing if Kansas can dominate the Jayhawks on their home court. So it should be a good matchup.
Grady Dick, freshman sensation for the Kansas Jayhawks as the Jayhawks have jumped out to a 9-1 start within conference play. I'll tell you one game that really interests me. How about the Houston Cougars? Top 5 in the country. They were number 1 for a bit for suffering a loss the other night. And Virginia, they continue to be strong under Tony Bennett, their head coach. 8-0 overall. They have gotten off to a great start here in the 2022-2023 campaign. Chances are you're going to find a college basketball game to watch on Saturday. And finally, let's go ahead and get you updated with some scorers around the NBA as well. Well, actually, there are no games in progress at the moment, but still a busy slate around the association. Houston Rockets will play host to the Miami Heat at 8 o'clock. Also at 8, the Memphis Grizzlies getting set to take on the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, that ought to be a good duel between Giannis and Ja Morant. At 9 p.m., the New Orleans Pelicans, who have gone off to a nice start this season, they head to Utah to take on the Jazz. And at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Phoenix Suns head to Los Angeles to take on the Clippers. What are some storylines early on in the NBA that have caught your eye, Jonathan?
Well, right now we're seeing a lot of trade rumors getting built up right now. We know that a lot of those players who weren't able to be traded early off on the season due to their contract are now being trade targets right now. We see Eric Gordon possibly being traded. The Rockets want a first-round pick for him. You're looking at the Knicks. The Knicks want to get rid of Cam Reddish. Kyle Kuzma said he wants a $20 million contract and wants to be traded to play on a contending team. And you're looking at the Lakers looking to either get rid of Patrick Beverly. And Beverly said he wants a reunion with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that should be interesting. It's a trade season right now. We'll see if teams can make some trades around in the NBA season.
Meantime, a big story out of the NBA today. Looks as though that Warriors guard Stephen Curry will be missing a few weeks, suffering an injured shoulder in Golden State's loss at Indiana last night. And the way that the Warriors have been playing on the road lately, 2-12 away from the Bay, that could spell some trouble for the defending NBA champions. But still a lot of basketball left to be played in that NBA season.
He dropped 27 in the first quarter, and they were still down by 20. I don't know what about to do our team has, but Thursday, why there's not a lot of basketball games, because Thursday night belongs to football. Tonight, Thursday night football, you got the 49ers and Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, facing off against the Seattle Seahawks.
A very interesting NFC West matchup. That game being played later on tonight. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the statistics from the first half of our game. Capital leading Kalamazoo 37-18. Here are the team statistics. Capital shooting 47% from the field, 43% from three-point range. Kalamazoo, meantime, as a team shooting 29% from the field, only 2 of 13 from three-point range, good for only 15%. Both teams didn't really have a ton of shots at the free throw line. Capital going 1 of 4 from the cherry stripe, good for 25%. Kalamazoo 2 of 4, good for 50%. Capital out-rebounding Kalamazoo in that first half by a big margin, 24-11, with 9 offensive rebounds as well. That's been pretty key for the Comets here tonight. Assists, Capital 11, Kalamazoo 4. Both teams even in turnovers with 9. Bench points, Capital's really come through in that category. 19 bench points for the Comets as opposed to only 4 for the Hornets. Fast break points, Capital 5, Kalamazoo 2. Each team with 6 steals. Capital with a slight edge when it comes to points off turnovers, 7-6. Points in the paint, Capital 16, Kalamazoo 10. Second chance points, Capital 6 and Kalamazoo 2. Now for the individual statistics, here's Jonathan.
Well, when you give stats like that and a team who's shooting 7-24 and shooting 29% from the field, there are not a lot of buckets falling for Kalamazoo. Their leading scorer right now is Josh Decker with 7 points, Caleb Call with 4 right behind him, and DJ Courtney with 3 of his own. On the rebound side, nothing spectacular either. Decker calling his name again, trying to do it on both the offensive and doing the dirty work down low with 3 rebounds. So does J.J. Stevens, and Addison Atwater has 2, and so does Caleb Call. Looking at the assists, because no shots are really falling down, there's not a lot of assists going on for Kalamazoo. Addison Atwater has 2 of his own. And, this team, they're putting up a lot of shots. They're just not falling for them right now. But taking a look at Capital, coming off the bench, this man, Trey Way the game, Trey Hammond, a freshman, coming off the bench and leading the team with 11 points. Right behind him is Carter Combs, none other than himself with 8 points, and Justin Nixon doing the dirty work down low. You got to feed that big man. Speaking about feeding the big man, who's doing the work down low? Caleb Crawford. Actually, you not expect to hear his name. Normally the offensive push for Capital, but however, he's not getting a lot of shots in this opportunity. He's going to do some work down low. He's got 5 rebounds as he leads the team. Nixon with 4 rebounds of his own. Dosick with 3, and so does Thompson had 3 of his own. They're doing a good job of spreading the ball around, as there's a list of good shooters on this team here. Carter Combs leads the way with 5 assists. Crawford with 3, And Dosick, Iing, and Seaver all have one of their own. But don't forget, it is the holiday season, so, we had to throw a few block parties for our opponents. And Crawford and Dosick have one apiece leading the way.
Those are your first half stats from what was a very, very good first half for Capital. Well, I think it goes without saying, partner. Capital just needs to keep its foot on the gas pedal here going forward. They'll be on their way to a win and have some positive vibes heading in to that game at Ohio Northern coming up on Saturday.
That should be a good matchup right here, knowing that you're headed on the road, headed into enemy territory. Last game of the year. How do you want to end it? Because that's going to be just sulking in your head. Like, it's always like for athletes, I feel like, it's that what if. That what if I would have made that catch? What if I would have hit that one step going inside? Would that have changed the game? And so you don't want to end the year on a what if and set it in stone and get a dub.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, the start of the second half here at the Capital Center. Capital 37, Kalamazoo 18 on athletics.capital.edu. Just about to start the second half here at the Capital Center. Capital leading Kalamazoo 37-18. The Comets trying to get back into the win column. Ederian played today with a 3-5 overall record, 1-2 mark with an OAC play. Meantime, Kalamazoo, boy, they are hurting. They have lost their last 6 after beginning this season with a win, and they are in danger pushing that losing streak to 7. The Hornets will begin with possession of the basketball. Charlie Danes, Jonathan Brown, so glad to have you along for the ride here on this Thursday night during this holiday season. Call trying to dribble inside to Courtney. Atwater dribbling to his right, double teamed, fighting out of it, almost stolen. Now a 3 by Courtney. Rebound taken by Combs after the miss.
Hopefully both of these teams, getting ready for the holiday season, they're able to let out some of their energy here, crammed up for all them finals. Hopefully everybody did well on those this week.
Crawford, meantime, over to Magerly. Magerly dribbling to his left, over to Dosick. Dosick hands off to Crawford. 10 to shoot. Now in the hands of Thompson. Thompson, he'll pass over to Magerly. Magerly with a pass inside, but it's picked off by Atwater. Turnover for Capital. Here come the Hornets the other way. Horkey for 3. No good, and the rebound is taken by Capital. Nice job by Dosick chasing it down and tipping it the way of his teammate Combs. Crawford will go inside to Dosick. Nice give and go. Crawford can't handle the pass. Saves it, however, to Combs. Combs, floater in.
So go in the lucky roll there.
And now a timeout here is going to be taken by Capital. 18:43 left to play here in the second half. Capital 39, Kalamazoo 18. This will be a short 30-second timeout, so this will just be a teaching moment here for head coach Damon Goodwin in his 28th season as head coach. You just don't often see head coaches last all that long, particularly at one place.
No, not for real, but seeing that Goodwin is able to stay here and continue on the legacy and hopefully chase another NCAA tournament here, opportunity, that would be great to see here from Capital.
Meantime, Kalamazoo with this possession. As it is bounced into Atwater. Atwater will finally pick it up near half court. 18:40 to play in the second half. Capital 39. Kalamazoo 18. Passed over to Courtney. Now to Coleman. In the hands of Decker now. Decker, left wing, trying to drive inside. Trying to back his man down near the left block. Turnaround J is good for Josh Decker, sophomore out of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
Got the shimmy fadeaway to go in.
Lead for Capital is 19. As we're just about 2 minutes into the second half. Dosick to Combs for three.
Splash.
Carter Combs knocking it down from the right wing. 42-20 in favor of Capital. Very rhythmic shot right there. Everything just lined up perfectly for the Comets.
That's 13 for 13 right there.
Horkey on the left wing. Over to Coleman. He'll try a three. That's off the mark. And the rebound is taken by Crawford for Capital. Crawford, left wing. Over to Dosick. Dosick to Combs. Combs, right wing, shot, splash. Another made three for Carter Combs. He's really feeling it from downtown. As the lead for Capital is now pushed to 25, 45-20, 17-20 to play in the second half. Atwater bouncing it inside. Now a kick out. Horkey for three, and he'll knock it down from the left wing.
That was just a good ball movement down low, threading the needle, and finding your wide open teammate on the wing for a three.
Capital 45, Kalamazoo 23, 17 minutes to play in the second half. Crawford drives in, can't get the layup to go. Unlucky bounce right there for Caleb. And here come the Hornets. Courtney to Coleman, back outside to Horkey. Horkey near the top of the arc. Now he'll try to drive in, and he'll miss it. Coleman had an opportunity at an offensive board, but he lost it. And now a foul is going to be called against Kalamazoo. The foul will go against Ty Horkey. That's his second personal, team's first of the half. And now some substitutions. For Capital, Alex Iank checks in. And for Kalamazoo, J.J. Stevens, the freshman, out of Sturgis, Michigan. 45-23 advantage for Capital. 16:36 to play in the second half. Iank dribbling to his left near the top of the arc. He'll now give off to Combs. Combs driving in, outside, Dom for three, no good. Rebound, chased down by Iank. Nice hustle by the sophomore from Maria Stein, Ohio. Combs drives in, nice pass inside, 2 points for Griffin Dosick.
Carl finding Dosick down low. Great pass right there.
Capital 47, Kalamazoo 23, coming up on 16 minutes to play in the second half. Courtney, right wing. Fed inside to Stevens. Stevens trying to back his man down. Jump hook off the glass and in for J.J. Stevens.
There's a 6-6 matchup over 6-4. And a nice extra bounce right there.
Capital 47, Kalamazoo 25. 15:45 to play. Combs, little heat check there, missed the three, but another offensive board, this time by Magerly. Now to Combs again. That's no good. Tipped up in the air. Dom with another offensive board for Capital. 15 to shoot for the Comets. Iank trying to get a screen. Does get one from Thompson. Now we'll bounce it over to Thompson. Back out to Combs. Combs left wing. He'll drive inside and he scores. Carter Combs, a sophomore from Westchester, Ohio, is feeling it here offensively, particularly in the second half.
Unable to get it to fall twice from behind the arc, but he said, you know what, I'm gonna take it to the hole. As I looked at it, was tipped. That's a block party again.
Dom Magerly showing off the defensive prowess inside. Dosick finishing at the rim. Everything working for Capital offensively. It's now a 51-25 lead for the Comets with 14:48 to play. Courtney bouncing it over to Stevens. Now in the hands of Addison. Addison inside to Courtney, but the pass never got to him. It goes off the hands of Thompson. And now mass substitutions for both teams. Nixon, Crawford, Seaver in for Capital. Meantime, for Kalamazoo, looks like Call, Bandemer. They check in along with, let's see, Stevens was already in there. I guess Courtney came back in. Capital 51, Kalamazoo 25. Three-pointer, no good, but getting his own miss and putting it back in is Bobby Samples, the junior out of Howell, Michigan.
That's his hustle right there.
51-27 in favor of the Comets. 14-14 to play in the second half. And now an offensive foul will go against Capital. That's going to go against Nixon. That's his first. Team's first of the half. Combs leading the way for Capital offensively with 18 points. Trey Hammond also into double figures for Capital. He's got 11. Sample driving in, count the basket and a foul as the foul is called on Caleb Crawford. Nice finish at the rim by Bobby Samples and an opportunity for him to complete the and one play.
Samples just bringing something nasty. It might be that headband right there. That's some throwback right there.
Shot is up and good. Boy, but that headband and that long hair, flashbacks of John McEnroe at 1981 Wimbledon. Capital 51, Kalamazoo 30. 13:52 to play. Combs or Iyink with great hustle. He'll be called for an over and back, but great job of poking the ball away and trying to steal it. Capital, meantime, with another substitution. Caleb Crawford will check out. Coming back in will be McCain Finkenbein.
Although it's a tremendous lead here, the Hornets are still going to be buzzing, and they are still fighting with some tenacity here. You see him making hustle plays here, and can't outwork hustle.
They're still playing. Capital 51, Kalamazoo 30. Missed three-pointer, and the rebound taken by Nixon as he nearly lost it, but he'll get it to Finkenbein. To Iyink. Iyink driving in, and an offensive foul is going to be called against Iyink. That's his first personal. Team's third of the half.
Caleb called, took the charge right there, stood tall.
13.5 to play. Capital 51, Kalamazoo 30. We mentioned that Combs was the leading scorer for Capital. Meantime, leading scorer for Kalamazoo continues to be Decker. He's got 9 points on the night for the Hornets. Samples needing some help, passing it over to Courtney. Courtney now dribbling to his left. Courtney inside to Stevens. Over to Call. Call, tough jumper, gets the friendly roll.
See, the Hornets aren't done fighting.
McCain Finkenbein over to Seaver. Now to Iyink. Back to Seaver. And now to Iyink inside Nixon. Kick out Seaver. Thought about a three and came down without taking a shot. That's an automatic travel. Kalamazoo with a substitution. Lucas Hannafam, the freshman from Chelsea, Michigan, checks in. Magerly, Thompson, Nixon, Combs back in along with Finkenbein for Capital. Samples, meantime, driving in, and he got fouled. So now he'll head to the free throw line. Boy, Bobby Samples, the junior guard out of Howell, Michigan, has been injecting some energy into this Horn squad.
I told you that you can't outwork hustle, and he's just bringing some hustle off the bench here. Still bringing some energy to this team. The game is far from over.
Samples missing the first free throw as Crawford and Dosick check back in for Capital. We have not seen a lot of free throws from either team tonight. Capital 1 of 4 from the cherry stripe, and with that miss, Kalamazoo now 3 of 6 from the foul line. One more free throw attempt for Samples. Shot is up and good. Capital 51, Kalamazoo 33, 12.5 to play in the second half. Dosick will go inside. Thompson backing his man down. Off the glass and in. Too easy for Joe Thompson.
Down low, find a big man. Fundamentals off the glass.
The lead for Capital is up to 20. Samples, double team, lost the ball. Here comes Dom the other way. Dom will glide in and score.
It's a nice euro right there. Big man made it look like poetry with the slow motion.
Now it's passed to the outside. Samples, left wing, guarded by Thompson, dribbling to his right. He'll now pass off to Call. 15 to shoot for the Hornets. Call dribbling to his left. Over to Samples. Samples, he'll let loose a three. No good. Crawford can't get the offensive board. It goes off his hands. And a fresh shot clock for Kalamazoo. Call. He'll try to drive in. Tough shot. No good. Rebound finally taken by Dosick. He'll feed it ahead to Crawford. Crawford to Thompson. Joe can't finish the layup on the other end. 55-33. Capital still with a big lead. 11:15 to play. Vandermeer dribbling to his right. Now over to Hannafan. Three-pointer on the way. That's no good. Out of bounds, and it will be Capital basketball. Substitution now for Kalamazoo as Alex Roof, junior guard out of Lawton, Michigan, checks in.
Similar to the first half, Kalamazoo has put up a lot of three-point attempts. They got two to fall in the first half, so right now they're sitting at half of that at one. So we'll see if they can double that.
3 of 21 from downtown for Kalamazoo, good for only 14%. Magerle to Dosick, inside to Thompson, drops it now off to Crawford. Crawford trying to back his man down, pump fake, can't get the bucket to go. Rebound taken by Call of Kalamazoo. Call quickly going up the floor, and he got bumped. Foul will go against Joe Thompson. His second, team's fifth of the half.
Free throw shot, yes. Call will go to the free throw line.
Call shooting 59% on the foul line. Came in here averaging 4.3 points per game. Right now, Call's got 6, make it 7 with the made free throw. Substitution, for Kalamazoo. As Josh Decker will check back in. Decker came in here averaging 14.6 points per game. He's still sitting at 9. Call meantime with the shot up, and it is good. Capital 55, Kalamazoo 35. Approaching 10.5 to play in this ballgame. Crawford across half court, passing off to Magerle. Magerle left wing, off to Thompson. Now over to Combs. Combs top of the arc, dribbling to his right, trying to probe that defense. Goes inside near the right block. Bounce it over to Dosick. 10 to shoot. Dosick, he'll try to drive in. Got stripped out of bounds, and they'll stay with Capital. Went off the hands of a Kalamazoo player. Speaking of Kalamazoo, they make a substitution as Ty Horkey goes back in for the Hornets. 8 to shoot for the Comets. Crawford, the trigger man. He'll get it inside to Magerle. Dom behind the back pass, but Dosick can't finish at the rim. Hornets coming the other way. Held up is Horkey. Now he'll settle it at the top of the arc. Horkey dribbling to his left. Guarded by Magerle. Horkey to his right. Samples. He'll now go baseline. Drive in. Can't finish the layup. Magerle with the rebound. Now to Crawford. Crawford up ahead. Crawford can't get it to go, but he did get fouled. So now Caleb Crawford will head to the free throw line. So the foul will go against Josh Decker. His first. Only the second team foul called against Kalamazoo this half. So now Crawford, the junior from Cincinnati, heads to the free throw line. And Caleb has struggled from the free throw line so far this season. Only 39%. Shot is up and good. I would hope that free throw percentage goes up as the season continues. Just something for him to work on going forward as Addison Atwater checks in for Kalamazoo. Now, in fairness to Caleb, he hasn't gone to the free throw line all that much this year. So it's not a large sample size, but we would think that percentage will go up as this season progresses. And that's a good start right there as he knocks down both free throws. 57-35 lead for Capital. 9:35 to play in the second half. Atwater passing it over. Wide open three, and it's knocked down by Alex Roof.
Raise the roof. He was wide open on an island.
Capital 57, Kalamazoo 38, 9:20 left to play in our second half. Crawford trying to put a move on his man, but he's stopped. Swung around to Thompson. He'll pass off to Combs. Combs Over to Thompson. Back outside. Crawford thought about a three. Now over to Mayerly for three. No good for Dom. Offensive board, however, for Dosick. Back inside. Thompson cuts in. Can't get the bucket to go, but he got fouled.
Head to the free throw line here.
Foul will go against Addison Atwater, his first, team's third of the half. Thompson shooting 85% from the free throw line. His shooting percentages so far this season have been mighty impressive, as the first shot is up and good. Shooting 55% from the field, 44% from three-point range, and 85% from the foul line. Any way you look at it, Joe Thompson is pretty efficient wherever he shoots the ball, as the second free throw is up and good.
He makes sure to take smart and efficient shots. He's not just putting anything up. If he doesn't feel comfortable about it, he's not going to risk it. But I will say, if you need somebody to take a last-second shot, he's one of those guys.
Justin Nixon checks in for Capital, who leads Kalamazoo 59-38, 8:45 left to play. Horky, jumper in the lane, no good. Good defense by Combs that time, but he loses the ball. Now outside to Atwater for three. That's no good. Tipped around. Crawford finally grabs the rebound for Capital. And then Crawford loses it out of bounds, but they'll say it went off of Kalamazoo. It'll still be Comets basketball.
That was a nice pass in between the legs there. We've seen a lot of nice flashy passes here tonight.
Crawford, top of the arc. Passing off to Combs on the right wing. Now to Nixon. Swung around to Magerly. Over to Combs. Combs, floater in the lane, and it's good. 20 points for Carter Combs. Boy, he has showed out tonight offensively.
This is the use for him.
Courtney, top of the arc. Out of bounds, and that'll be a turnover for Kalamazoo as Capital will get the ball back here. 8 minutes to play in the second half. Capital 61, Kalamazoo 38. And I would think within the next few minutes or so, Coach Goodwin will try to empty that bench as best he can, as Seaver will check into the ball game for the Comets. Crawford, meantime, situated at the top of the arc. Over to Magerly on the right wing. To Seaver. Now to Combs. Combs with his 20 points, working on the top of the arc. Magerly to Nixon. Nixon trying to drive in. Out to Dom. Dom, he'll try a long jumper. That's no good. Seaver with a tip. Rebound eventually corralled by Kalamazoo. Three-pointer. Decker knocks it down. And Josh Decker becomes the first double-digit scorer on the night for Kalamazoo. He has got 12. Crawford to Nixon. Inside to Seaver, and a hold will be called against Kalamazoo, as it looks like it'll go against Ty Horky. That's his third, team's fourth. Back in for Kalamazoo, Caleb Call, along with Bobby Samples, and Alex Iink, also back into the game for Capital. Crawford will inbound from the baseline. Into Iink, over to Nixon. Back to Iink. To Combs now. Combs inside. Nixon finishes with the left hand. Boy, he has been smooth down there on the low block.
What a pass from Combs, though.
Nifty pass to Roof. Roof, long jumper. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Combs. Nixon with 8 points to go along with 5 rebounds. After that made bucket. 63-41 lead for Capital. 6:45 to play in the second half. Nixon thought about a jumper, but now over to Seaver. Seaver inside. Ian can't handle the pass cleanly. Out of bounds. They'll say it went off of Kalamazoo. It'll be Comets basketball with 12 to shoot. Crawford, the trigger man. He'll inbound it from the baseline. And gets it into Iink. Iink over to Crawford. Crawford now to Combs. Combs thought about a D3, but instead driving in. Floater is good. 22 points now for Carter Combs. And now a timeout's going to be taken by Kalamazoo. We'll step aside. 6:25 to play in the second half. Capital 65. Kalamazoo 41 on athletics.capital.edu. 6:25 to play in the second half. Capital comfortably ahead 65-41 over Kalamazoo. Carter Combs, leading scorer for Capital. He's got 22 points on the night for the Comets. Meantime, leading scorer for Kalamazoo is Decker. He's got 12. Samples able to pluck that pass out of the air. Now Decker will launch a three, and he'll knock that down. So now he's got 15. Decker starting to heat up here a little bit. Capital 65, Kalamazoo 44. Combs, he'll drive in, layup, no good, and the rebound is taken by Call. A rare miss, a night that has been full of makes for Carter Combs. Decker, double team, passing out of it. Now it's back to Decker, who loses it out of bounds. That's another turnover for Kalamazoo. It'll be Capital basketball.
I still see the starters in here. Opportunity to kind of run some plays here and see if they can just control the game the rest of the way here.
Under 5.5 to play here in the second half. Capital in good shape to get back on the winning side of things after being blown out by John Carroll last weekend. As Crawford turns it over, Decker, left wing, now over to Call. Call being guarded by Crawford. Over to Samples. Samples over to Decker. Decker, he'll launch another three. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Carter Combs. Combs across half court. Over to Crawford. Crawford thought about a three, but now he pulls it back. 20 to shoot for Capital as we took under 5 minutes to play in the second half. A 65-44 lead for the Comets. Seaver with a nice pump fake. Jumper in the lane is good. 67-44 lead now for Capital. 4:35 to play. Call. Trying to go inside. Decker able to finish. And boy, nice couple of minutes here for Josh Decker, the sophomore out of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
A nice reverse layup right there. Leading the team with 17.
Seaver passing off to Combs. Over to Iyink. Iyink trying to dribble out of trouble to Seaver. Seaver almost has his pocket picked. Over to Crawford. Crawford driving inside. Count that basket and a foul.
3-point play here for Crawford.
Foul will go against, looks like Caleb. No, I take that back. Addison Atwater, excuse me. His second, team's fifth. Now Crawford will head to the foul line. Nice hand from the crowd as Carter Combs departs. Back in for Capital, Ryan Roth, senior out of Findlay. Crawford's shot is good as he completes the three-point play. And now a substitution for Kalamazoo as Carter Vandemer, the freshman out of Howell, Ohio, comes back in for the Hornets. We took under 4 minutes to play. Capital 70, Kalamazoo 46. Over to J.J. Stevens. Now to Vandemer for three, and he swishes it through. Capital 70, Kalamazoo 49. 3:40 to play. Roth, top of the arc, bounced over to Nixon. Nixon to Iyink. Iyink to Crawford. Crawford to Seaver. Nearly poked away that time by Kalamazoo, but Capital keeps possession. 6 to shoot. Crawford got to make a move here. 15-footer, no good. Rebound. Iyink puts it back up. Can't make the shot, but he got fouled.
Goes to the free throw line.
So the foul will go against Bobby Samples. That's his second, team 6. Iyink heading to the foul line. Sophomore out of Maria Stein, Ohio. And he is shooting 80% from the foul line. Shot is up and good. Substitutions for Kalamazoo now is Gabriel Sharp, Lucas Hannafan check in, along with J.J. Stevens. And man, you really got a feel for Kalamazoo. 5 players were scratched before tonight's game, so that really hurt their depth tonight. And I'm sure Coach Giard would have liked to have gotten those players playing time here within these last few minutes. A drive inside and a miss by Gabriel Sharp, the junior out of Riverview, Florida. And now, officials time as, oh no, Justin Nixon comes up lame. We were told before the game that Nixon was working back from an injury. And now Nixon walking back gingerly to the Capital bench. He'll take a seat, and boy, hopefully that is nothing too serious. Capital needs that big man in the worst way.
He's already missed one game this season, and hopefully everything checks out just fine.
Nate Gerber, meantime, checks in for Capital, along with McCain Finkenbein. Under 3 to play in the second half. Capital with a nice 71-49 lead over Kalamazoo. Roth, top of the arc, dribbling to his left. Passing over to Gerber. Over to Brody Goen. Back to Gerber. Gerber, jumper, good.
Somebody coming to the game, get you some points.
Capital 73, Kalamazoo 49, under 2.5 to play. Vandermeer, left wing, dribbling around, passing off to Sharp. Sharp with a little spin move. Pass inside to Stevens. Stevens puts up the shot and got fouled by Gerber. Nate Gerber with his first foul of the game, team 6. So nice move on the inside there by J.J. Stevens. And he'll try to complete the three-point play. Shot is up, and that's no good. Gerber grabs the rebound for Capital. 2:10 remaining. Capital 73, Kalamazoo 51. McCain Finkenbein, the freshman, running the point for Capital, gets it over to Roth. Roth now over to Gerber. 10 to shoot for the Comets. And a foul will be called on the inside against Capital, as it'll go against Brody Goen, his first, team 7th. That gives the ball back to Kalamazoo with 1:53 remaining. Capital 73, Kalamazoo 51. And a foul on the inside. Looks like that's going to go against Brody Goen, his second, team's 8th. And heading to the foul line will be Gabriel Sharp. He attended Tampa Prep, originally from Riverview, Florida. Missing the first free throw. Second free throw is up and good for Sharp.
This season, he's done pretty well when he gets to the free throw line, shooting about 66%.
1:40 remaining in the second half. Capital 73, Kalamazoo 53. Roth, top of the arc. Roth over to Hammond. To Finkenbein. Finkenbein now dribbling to his left. Nice crossover, drives in. Kick to Hammond, and Hammond will earn himself a trip to the free throw line, as the foul will be called against Addison Atwater. Blocking foul. His third foul of the night for Atwater, team 7th. And boy, there's a lot to like when it comes to this young man, Trey Hammond, freshman out of Medina, Ohio. Certainly has some range. Showed a nice driving layup in this game as well. There's a lot of potential with Mr. Hammond.
Trey, way to game. He coming off the bench. They'll make this, trying to make it 12 here. Coming off the bench, you're getting 13 points here. You know, what more can you ask for, especially as a freshman, knowing that you got your number called up and been stepping up to the plate and earning yourself your minutes. As
the driving layup is good for Lucas Hannafan. 1:05 to play. Capital leading Kalamazoo 75-55. As McCain Finkenbein passes it off to Roth. Capital at this point just trying to run some clock here. Hammond losing the ball. Atwater comes up with the steal to Sharp, and Sharp got fouled by Roth. Roth with his second, team's 9th, and now Sharp will once again head to the free throw line. So, Capital looking good here at the moment. Look to be in position to improve to 4-5 overall. Still 1-2 within OAC play as Sharp knocks down the first free throw. Meantime, for Kalamazoo, the struggles continue for the Hornets as they are now in danger of losing their 7th straight and dropping to 1-7.
New year, new team.
Finkenbein will bring it across half court. This will certainly be a road trip to forget for Kalamazoo after getting it handed to them by Denison. A similar result here at the Capital Center. But hopefully 2023 will smile upon them more kindly rather than 2022.
Well, looks like they got about 3 more games on the schedule. It looks like they'll actually be playing in a tournament for the holidays. So.
Sharp ahead, 3, no good for Bandemer. And now Finkenbein with the offensive rebound. Shot clock turned off. Finkenbein over to Roth, and bad pass right there by McCain as that led to an over and back for Roth. 9.5 seconds to play. Kalamazoo will inbound it from their bench. He'll get it into Atwater. Atwater will dribble around. 3 seconds. 3-pointer on the way. That's no good for Bandemer. And that is out. Tonight's game will end. Your final score from the Capital Center. Capital 75. Kalamazoo 57. When we come back, we'll examine the final stats of this game, and we'll also talk with our player of the game as well as he'll make his way up to the booth. Can't wait to see who they select here tonight. Again, the final score, Capital 75, Kalamazoo 57. This has been a presentation of Comets men's basketball on athletics.capital.edu. Welcome back to the Capital Center. Final score, Capital 75, Kalamazoo 57. Let's go ahead and run through the statistics. Alongside Jonathan Brown, I'm Charlie Danis. We begin with the team statistics. On the night, Capital shooting 50% from the field, 36% for Kalamazoo. Capital doing a nice job from three-point range tonight. 8 of 20, good for 40%. Meantime, 7 of 30 for Kalamazoo, good for only 23%. Capital finishes 9 of 13 of the foul line, good for 69%. Meantime, 71% from the foul line for Kalamazoo, 10 of 14 from the charity stripe for them. Nearly, or actually, I should say more than double the rebounds for Capital over Kalamazoo, 45 to 22 in favor of the Comets, as Capital had firm control of the glass here tonight. Other statistics of note: Capital 15 assists, Kalamazoo 10. Turnovers, Capital 19, Kalamazoo 12. Bench points, Kalamazoo 30, Capital 28. Blocks, Capital 3, Kalamazoo 1. Fast break points, Capital 11, Kalamazoo 9. Steals, Kalamazoo 10, Capital 7. Points off turnovers, Kalamazoo 16, Capital 9. Points in the paint, Capital 36, Kalamazoo 26. Second chance points, Capital 13 and Kalamazoo 4. Now the individual statistics. Here's Jonathan.
Taking a look at Kalamazoo first. Their leading scorer, Josh Decker. He finished the game shooting 7-12 from the field, 58% overall. He heated up in the second half. It was just a little too late, but great effort from him, going 3 from 6 from behind the arc. Right behind him, he had Caleb Call, who finished with 8 points. Bobby Samples finished with 6, and Ty Horkey finished with 5. Their rebounders, J.J. Stevens, coming off the bench and getting 5 rebounds of his own. Decker called his name again, had 4 rebounds of his own, Call with 3, and Addison Atwalker with 2. Their assist leader, like I said, the shots weren't just falling, but they were able to get the ball passed around. Atwater finished with 3, J.J. Stevens with 2. Taking a look overall for team stats for Capital, individual on the side, their leading scorer was Carter Combs. That man was in his bag, no Chanel, finished with 22 points. Coming off the bench was a young freshman himself, Trey Way the game. Trey Hammond finished with 13 points coming off the bench. Right behind him, Thompson, and our player coming up here, Justin Nixon. Got to feed that big man down low, barbecue chicken, as doing the dirty work down low. Crawford actually led the team along with Combs with 7 rebounds apiece of their own. Megerly with 6, Dosick with 5, Nixon with 5 of his own as well. The assist leader, Carter Combs, finding his teammates in places to be found, was dishing and diming. Crawford finished with 3, Dosick finished with 2. And like I said, it was a block party. You got to have some fun. And everybody had a block, was Crawford, Dosick, and Megerly.
And now we're joined in the broadcast booth by Justin Nixon, sophomore forward out of Minster, Ohio. He finishes with 8 points to go along with 5 rebounds. Well, Justin, welcome into the broadcast booth. You guys had a tough time against John Carroll. I bet it was very nice to get back out there, get a bounce-back win over Kalamazoo tonight.
Yeah, we needed that. I mean, going into Christmas break, we want to end it strong. So today it was nice to get out, get the win, and then we got to come in Saturday against ONU and get another one.
So one thing that really stood out to me in this game, all the offensive rebounds. You played a big part in that. Don Magerly played a big part in that. You guys were very active on the glass tonight.
I mean, yeah, that's what we want to see. You know, second chance opportunity, that's what you want. Gets you a lot more offense, helps you on defense, getting back in the positive side down on the offensive end. It really helps transition into our defense, and it's a big thing for us.
Carter Combs goes off for 22 points, 4 or 6 from three-point range, 9 of 12 overall from the field. What's it like when that guy has got it going on the offensive side?
I mean, he's special. You know, when he gets it going, he'll be out on the line. They'll come out hard on him. He's diving to the rim, and it's just an easy dump down every time. And, you know, that's what we really want to see. That's a big thing for our offense, is working through him and going off what he's doing.
You're a big man. So is Trey Hammond. Trey had a nice game, particularly shooting the 3 ball tonight. That guy's got a lot of potential, I think.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's really shown us what he's got the last couple of games, and I really like to see it. I mean, he's a knockdown shooter, and we need that. Before
I let you go, you got that game against Ohio Northern. Boy, it sure would be nice to get a win before the calendar year of 2022 runs out for you guys. What are going to be some keys against the Polar Bears?
I mean, offensive rebounding like we did tonight, but it's got to be defense. Tonight, I don't think we played our defense as well as we wanted to, and it's going to be on the defensive end to win game, and we're going to have to go down to ONU and play some defense, hard defense, and see what happens.
All right. Well, Justin, thank you so much for joining us.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Justin Nixon, sophomore forward, joining us up here in the broadcast booth. Again, he finishes with 8 points to go along with 5 rebounds, and he's going to continue to be a big key for Capital going forward. Jonathan, he just brings so much athleticism, a lot of hustle down there on the low block, a presence, rebounding, and more importantly, scoring.
Got to feed that big man down low. He's able to do the work that nobody else is able to do down low. And you've seen the plays, like early off, I know this game he did not come off. He was not in the starting lineup, so he came off the bench. And Capital tried to force that ball down low, but they had difficulties. With Nixon, he just brings that presence down low because he's such a bigger presence down low. And you got to feed that man. When he's able to get on a high streak down low, he can't be stopped.
So, with the win tonight, Capital improves to 4-5 overall, still 1-2 with an OAC play. With the loss, Kalamazoo drops to 1-7 overall. As we mentioned, one more game for Capital here in the calendar year of 2022. They head to Ohio Northern on Saturday to take on the Polar Bears. That game is scheduled for a 2 o'clock tip-off. Tune to athletics.capital.edu. We'll have live stats and a feed into that broadcast there as the Comets look to pick up another win with an OAC play. The Comets will then head to Adrian to take on the Bulldogs. That game is scheduled for a 2 o'clock start. That would be on January 2nd, so the day after New Year's Day. And then our next broadcast for Capital Men's Basketball here at the Capital Center, that will be Wednesday, January 4th. It's an OAC matchup between Wilmington and Capital as the Comets entertain the Quakers here in Bexley. That game is scheduled for a 7 o'clock start. We'll get things started with the pregame show beginning at 6:50 p.m. Well, Jonathan, a special time of the year. You and I were talking before the game about how everybody's getting ready for Christmas. Everybody's getting ready for New Year's Eve. So I wish you the happiest of holiday greetings. I hope you enjoy your time with your family, and I will see you in 2023.
Yes, sir. New year, new me, that is the motto, as everybody likes to say. But happy holidays, everybody who tuned in, and an even blissful new year.
For my broadcast partner, Jonathan Brown, this is Charlie Danis saying one final time, the final score from the Capital Center, Capital 75, Kalamazoo 57. We bid you so long and good night from Bexley, Ohio. Have a very Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year.